So again, and that's there are a couple more problems like that. Now the next one I want to look at, this is kind of interesting. That one right there, the flat bar with holes. Because this illustrates what happens if you change the shape, if you will. You know, you've weakened it. When you start punching holes in a part, you've weakened that part, haven't you? This illustrates that very well in example 9.6 on page 181. It says a flat steel bar, a ½ inch thick by 4 inches wide, is subjected to a 20 kip tensile load. 2 3/4 inch diameter holes are located as shown in figure 9.7a. Determine the average tensile stress at sections AA and BB. Neglect stress concentrations adjacent to each hole. Okay, there are some, anytime you start getting into some sharp corners and such, you get some stress concentration. So, through section A, let's see, what all do we know? We know that P is 20 kips, right? Or 20,000 pounds. Okay, we'll use the 20 kips, but I just want, if that makes it easier for you to understand. What else do we know? We do know the area, don't we? Yeah, 4 times 0.5, which is 2, right? 2 square inches. And we're looking for the stress, aren't we? Okay, in both cases. Now, if we look over here at B, we still have P is 20 kips. The area now is what? Well, each one of these, what are we looking at here? We still have the 2 square inches, right? Minus, we've got 3/4 of an inch times a ½ inch, right? It's a ½ inch wide, so times 3/4, and you've got 2 of those. So two that are a ½ inch by 3/4 of an inch. Wouldn't that leave you with 3/4 of an inch? Half times 3/4 is the same thing as half of 3/4, right? When you multiply, it's of. So half of 3/4 plus half of 3/4 is 3/4.
Why is it half?
Because of the thickness, the width of the piece. This right here that you're cutting out is shaped like that, right? This distance right here is ½ inch. It's a ½ inch thick plate. And then the other distance, this is a 3/4 inch, what would be a 3/4 inch diameter. And then you've got 2 of those. So, yeah, it's about as broad as it is long. It's just going to be 3/4 of an inch. You got 2 times half of 3/4. Well, half of 3/4 is 3/8, right? So, if this is 3/8 and that's 3/8, then you've got 3/4. Anything multiplied, if you got 2 things that are multiplied by a half, then it's going to be whatever that number was, right? So then the area on that one is going to be 1.25 square inches. And we're still looking for the stress. So we said the stress was 20 kips divided by 2 square inches. That'd be something like 10, wouldn't it? Kips per square inch. How in the world did that happen? Okay, I don't know how that line got across there. This one, same thing but different, right? 20 kips divided by 1.25 square inches. Oh, I'm going to have to look in the book for that one. Got to cheat. Unless I'd have brought my calculator. 16. Kips per square inch. Does that make sense? Would there be less stress in this bar where there are no holes? Yeah. Because there's more material there, isn't there? When you drill the holes, you're taking material out of that area. So if there's less area, it's going to have to have more stress on it. It's plain and simple. Yep. Or if you don't think that a smaller amount of stress or a smaller area will put more stress on something, do this. Push with your whole hand against your jaw. Or better yet, push with your whole hand up against your nose. And then just take the edge of your finger and do that. That's a pressure point that police like to use to hold you where they want you. And see what's worse, you know?
You know that from experience?
Yeah, I do. Because I used to have to be trained to do that against the bad guys. Yeah. So yeah.
You weren't one of the bad guys.
No.
Glad to hear
I don't know that. I might have been a bad guy that's never got caught. You know, back in my youth. So, and you know, it's like you're only supposed to punch with these two knuckles, right? The index finger and the next one down, middle finger. You're only supposed to punch with those two. And that's where guys get in trouble in the bars. They come around like that with the old roundhouse, and then they break their wrist or their hand right in those two fingers, don't they? So that's another lesson for you. But yeah, and actually you'd be better off, I guess, if you used all four fingers. The problem is these two back here don't have anything supporting them. So stress. All kinds of stress. It's called stress. That's what we're doing here, right? School. Does that make sense?